Every second of every day, we're showered in particles from outer space. These are cosmic rays. Some are made by the sun, some come from distant stars, supernovae, and even black holes. Our planet's magnetic field and atmosphere blocks a lot of them, and those that reach the ground are harmless to us, but not to our tech. We have traveled to ChipIR, a cosmic ray factory within the ISIS Neutron and Muon source, to find out more about protecting our modern world from cosmic rays.
So, what are cosmic rays?
So cosmic rays are high-energy particles coming from space, coming from either the galaxy, the galactic cosmic rays, or coming from our local star, the sun, solar cosmic rays, and they come down and hit the atmosphere. And the atmosphere protects us from those cosmic rays, except that there's a very light rain of particles down here at ground level. So if you hold your hand out, then that's being hit by a gentle rain of cosmic rays. As organisms, we've evolved in that, so we're very used to this environment, but modern technology hasn't evolved in that. And so the work we do here is looking at the effect of those cosmic rays that reach the ground on that modern technology.
What kind of effects do you get in electronics and technology from the cosmic rays?
So cosmic rays, so the kind of classic example of cosmic rays is bit flipping. So a bit is a piece of digital information stored in pretty much every bit of electronics you've got. So if you get out a bit of electronics and hold it in your hand now, the information is stored in bits, in binary data. And what cosmic rays can do is come down and change that binary data. It can change a 0 to a 1 or a 1 to a 0.
Then the effect can be funny, like your refrigerator telling you that you're missing bananas rather than oranges, or quite more annoying, like the windows of your domotic house to open when it's raining. So it depends really on the situation.
Other things that can occur is it can actually burn out devices. So it can actually cause high-power devices to literally burn out. And the other thing that it can do is to change the functionality or to stop them working for a temporary period. So it can latch them, it can make them latch, so they stop working as they should working, and you have to reset them.
Technology companies are currently investing heavily in AI, and of course, it will be affected by cosmic rays too. Why is it important to test AI systems with cosmic rays?
For automotive application, it's pretty obvious because it's a safety-critical application, so we really do not want the autonomous vehicle to have errors while identifying objects, because that can actually change the vehicle behavior. So that is really, really important. And we need to understand how cosmic rays modifies the detection so that we can design efficient and effective hardening solution. We don't have a lot of time to detect errors because we need to process 40 frames per second. So we need to do that at speed, and adding redundancy or checking is actually quite hard in those systems.
Errors in technology can range from comedic to severe, but in some cases even endanger lives. So how are dangers actually tested here?
What we're interested here is that the bit flips may actually have very little effect on electronics. You may notice a slight glitch. We're quite used to that with electronics, but occasionally and in some systems those glitches are extremely important. So if you're doing something very commercially interesting with electronics, so internet routers are an example of that. They're deployed in large scale all over the world. Or you're doing something that's safety critical, so electronics is involved in the safety of things, then we're very interested in mitigating against those. So for many things, it's irritation, but not critical, but we're interested in the critical nature of that. How we do that is to put the electronics into this instrument behind us called the ChipIR radiation instrument, and we bombard it with neutrons, but at 1.5 billion times the number of neutrons. That means that device is sitting for an hour here. It will be sitting in the real environment for about 170,000 years.
That's a big number, more than we expect.
Yeah. Well, you do that because we really have to make sure that things that are safety critical or commercially critical are very, very reliable. They have to be extremely reliable. So even though 170,000 years sounds like a long time, actually often devices need to be reliable not to have errors in that kind of time scale.
And you mentioned cosmic rays coming from the galaxy, but also the sun.
Yeah.
And recently we've seen the sun is picking up its activity as we approach solar maximum. How in particular are the device tested here are mimicking the potential effects of the sun on technology?
Yeah. So what I'll be speaking about to now, so the galactic cosmic rays hit us all the time. They've been doing that for tens of thousands of years. It's sort of like a gentle rain, as we were holding our hands out. It's like it's raining particles, and that is problematic, as I've said. Solar particles, what we can get is, and we've seen examples, so hopefully everyone was out there looking at the aurora borealis. I certainly had a look, and that's a really nice example of being able to see the effects of solar activity down on the ground, and we don't get to see that very often in the UK. But here what happens is very, very occasionally, and it's about once a year, there can be a big spike in the ground level. And what I'm saying is that's very different from the normal rain. It's as if rather than gentle rain you get a complete monsoon hitting you in hours or minutes rather than this sort of gentle rain, and that's characteristically different from the kind of errors that might be created by the normal galactic background. So we're interested in solar because it's a different kind of neutron radiation that comes down, in the sense of it's a big glut of neutrons that come down at one go. They don't happen very often, and part of the work that my colleagues in RAL Space are looking at is understanding the nature of what goes on. What we're interested in is the implications of that down on the ground.
With respect of like the major events in solar activity, like the famous Carrington event of 1859, what might actually happen to electronics, and how can we remedy what could potentially happen?
So the Carrington event 1859 is probably the largest recorded event by humans actually looking at it. So Carrington looked out and saw the big solar flare. In Kew Gardens they measured the magnetic fields and saw a big spike in the magnetic fields. And in places like Cuba they saw the aurora borealis. So it was clearly a very, very big event. The problem with the Carrington event for us is that there were no instruments really measuring it apart from the magnetic one in Kew Gardens. In 1956 there was a big event, not as big as the Carrington event potentially, but that was instrumented. So from the 1956 event we know and we saw a big spike actually in Leeds in the UK in the background neutron count. So what we are doing is taking things like the 1956 event as a yardstick for how we're going to mitigate the technology of this effect. And what we do is here we measure the effect of neutrons on modern technology, and then from that we can calculate what the effect would be in various scenarios. So for instance the 1956 event or predicted other events, we know they're going to occur. It's not a case of if, but it's a case of when. But the large events are often really widely spaced, so we're not going to, you don't see big events very often, but we have to prepare for them. We have to sensibly prepare for them. And so measuring the response here of electronics and understanding what's likely to happen by people like my colleagues in RAL Space, we put that together to enable us to make modern technology resilient. Our job here is to make sure you never notice our work. In other words, that we protect this stuff so well, and we predict and protect, and that means that if a big solar event happens, you'll be able to go out and look up at the beautiful aurora borealis without worrying about the technology that exists in your homes and in your businesses and the safety critical things.
Thank you very much for taking us on this tour on how we are protecting technology from the cosmic rays. Thank you.
Thank you.